My name is Lisa Borders, and I have the privilege of leading the WNBA, and we are proud to be partnering with all of my colleagues here on stage, which we'll introduce in just a moment, on the SheIS initiative. So we thank you for being here today. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. May I start with introductions? Yes. May I start with introductions? Because I've got the mic, and that's what we're going to do. So let me start with Caiti Donovan to my far right, who's the acting director of SheIS. Wave, Caiti.
All right,
Wave, Caiti. Give her some love. Brenda Andress, the commissioner of the Canadian Women's Hockey League, the visionary for SheIS. Stacey Allaster, the chief executive of USTA
Pro Tennis.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Jen Welter, who was a footballer herself and the first female coach in the NFL. Go girl. Some love. So again, thank you all for being here. We're really excited to be a part of this initiative, as is everyone. I know we have Miss USA here and Miss Canada Universe. Some love for the beauties in the middle, beauties and brain. Thank you all for being here. Caiti, let me toss it to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa. Good afternoon, and thank you to everyone again for being here and for supporting this launch of SheIS. We want to give a special thanks to the WNBA for hosting us, to TSN for providing filming, to our partners at Fast and Female, and to all of my fellow founding committee members for all of the amazing hard work that has gone into making today really special. I am truly honored to be sitting here in front of such an amazing group of female business executives and athletes, as well as our male allies who are here in support of us today. For decades, women in every industry have really fought for equality. Equality for opportunity, equality of resources, equality of pay, and equality of respect. Women have fought personal battles. They formed organizations and advocacy groups and created programs to help advance the cause of women's equality. And recently, we've seen an important and defining change in how women are really approaching this work. They're coming together in their industries to harness the power of their collective voice, and then amplifying that unified voice through a collective media and social media effort. Women are combining tech-savvy analytics and digital marketing with their collective passion and proving something that those of us who have grown up playing sports really already know. There's nothing stronger than a unified team. Today, the sports world has shown up with unprecedented support in the support of this launch of SheIS. This is the first time that all of the commissioners from the female leagues have sat together in one space for the collective launch of one cause. And this group of women and our male allies, we've really been forged into strong, passionate leaders by our experiences in sports, and we're uniting with common goals. To elevate and amplify female athletes currently competing at elite levels all around the world. To subsidize and grow the game at all levels by driving fan interest, sponsorship resources, and media coverage in women's sports. And to inspire the next generation of young female athletes by providing resources, opportunities, and role models that look like them in the sports world. Before I hand it over to Brenda, I want to tell you a bit more about how SheIS came to be, and we want to share a little bit about how the launch is going to happen. So first and foremost, our official go live day is Tuesday, May 1st, and this is the day when we will ask everyone in this room, along with fellow athletes, colleagues, and the media and our partner organizations, to share across their social channels in support of SheIS. We have a few gifts when you guys leave, including a sample social content and messaging pack that will make sharing out on May 1st really easy for everyone. And what you'll see in this pack is already some sample content, but you'll also see more content being added over the coming week as we process the photos and the videos from today. And of course, we want everyone to share this information with all of their friends and their family across your leagues over the coming weeks. We would ask that you keep any public sharing or any social media sharing on hold until that May 1st launch date. And with that, I would like to hand it over to the founder of SheIS and the commissioner of the CWHL, Brenda Andress.
Thank you. Well, I'm like probably more nervous than I've ever been in my entire life because I've never been in a room with such phenomenal women and women that can actually make a difference. And this room today, along with all the guys in this room also that have supported women for many years, it's like sitting up here and seeing something that I kind of wanted to make a difference with really come true. With, you know, I walk in and see this logo, and it's just amazing for me to be a part of it. SheIS was really brought about for the simplicity of trying to make a difference and understanding what would make a difference. So a lot of people will say, you know, it's finding the women's voice or giving the empowerment to women. But I already believe that women have a voice and we already are empowered. What we need to do is take that into an actionable way to make it actually come true, and that's where SheIS came from. I wanted to take something that was very positive and do something that we already know that we can do and create a family together of empowerment and voices, which we already have. Every single one of us has a voice. We just got to take that voice and put it into action and take our own empowerment and do something with that. And it's such a simple way to do it, which we've created with SheIS, is a campaign, much like the Ice Bucket Challenge, of taking videos, taking photos of you participating in another sport than what you already play or what you already watch. And that's how we can really make a difference, which Caiti will explain later as we go through all the tools that are given to you. I have to thank Caiti because, you know, mine was just an idea that I had inside of me. And I met Caiti at an event at the Hockey Hall of Fame. And, you know, we got talking, and she said, well, I might be interested in doing something. And if anybody knows me, if they say they might be interested in doing something, that's it, you're in. You know, that's the big part of it. So she's done a phenomenal job. And Jasmine, who's here, has done our website. And then the committee has been phenomenal, too, so I got to thank them. My first call when I started SheIS was to Lisa. And it was funny because when she first became the commissioner, I was reading her story and I went, wait, that's my story. And every one of you guys can read the same thing and go, that's my story too, and that's my story. And I'm thinking, well, if that's all our stories, why don't we all get together and create something together as our own story? Because it really was, when you read her whole bio and everything else, it's like, wait, that's my story. She's having problems with sponsorships. She's having problems with viewerships. And this is the WNBA, for God's sakes, right? Like, they're way ahead of us all, right? So it's like, I call her and she goes, yeah, Brenda, I'm in. We got to do this. My second call was to Stacey because, 12 years ago when I sat with Sammy Jo Small and we were talking about the Canadian Women's Hockey League, I walked up to Stacey and we said, Stacey, we're going to do this. Can you help us? She said, yeah, I'm in. And ever since that day, no matter when I call her, she says, yeah, Brenda, what can I do? So I thought, okay, that's perfect. And then Jen was the fourth call, sorry. It was one before you, It says,
Saving the best for last.
You were the fourth call.
Just because I'm short.
And it was amazing that, we had a great conversation on the phone, and she said the same thing, which is what her shirt says. But then I started to call like Sherry and Danny and Tessa and all the people in this room, that could make a difference as we were talking about all the different ways. And this is only step one, because for me, the power lies within this room and lies within what you decide to do after you leave this room. Because you have the power to, all your social media can reach out and say, here's a simple challenge. And SheIS is about making that challenge come true. So we, as a group of people, can get tons of women to support us just by using our own social media. It is only step one, though, because step two for us is about taking the SheIS logo and making sure that it gets on every single uniform of any woman who's playing a sport. And behind that, getting a sponsor that says, I sponsor SheIS, which sponsors massive women across, and those sponsorship dollars being shared with each and every one of us as a league. So it's like, this is just step one. The step two has a vision. We've got a lot of work to do, but we have a vision together. And together as women, I believe truly that this is something that we can do. And so that's why SheIS came about. That's why SheIS is coming together. The logo represents the same thing. It's open. The logo was never chosen to be closed because it's open, it's inclusive, it's got a lot of things to do yet. It's got a lot of ways to go, a lot of different directions to happen. And that's really what SheIS is all about.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, my paper fell. That's okay. I gotta wing it. Sorry. So I'm going to ask some questions to the panel. First, I'm going to ask Stacey: is that what actually got you into wanting to be in pro sports for women?
I'll try to keep it short because I've been in it for a long time. But I was given a gift from the Ontario Tennis Association. For my American friends, that would be like the eastern section. I was in the 8th grade, and they were going around giving a racket lessons at the Welter Tennis Club. So on the border of Niagara and Buffalo. And so I got a community membership, 6 weeks of lessons, and a racket. And from that moment, the journey began. I became a teaching pro so I could earn a living to take lessons and then put myself through university. I graduated and went right to the big city, went right to Toronto. And pretty early on then, the Ontario Tennis Association hired me. And I pretty much did every role possible, joined Tennis Canada. They turned me down 3 times. So I've got good genes from my grandparents, you know, very, very persistent. Tell me no, and I'll make it a yes. And I ran the largest women's-only event in the world, the Rogers Cup, a.k.a. the Canadian Open. And then the WTA pinched me, and 10 years of leading the #1 professional sport for women founded by Billie Jean King. So I never planned it that way. But we all know that sport teaches you opportunity and that competitiveness. And it was my passion. And I'm just really, really blessed to have had this opportunity to combine the passion from that moment. I was given that racket to promoting the sport that I love.
Awesome. Jen, if you could tell us what you think is the biggest challenges facing female athletes today, what would you say they are?
Well, it's funny. It's this shirt, right? Why do we look for a heroine, or we have to say a shero? Her has been in hero all along. We've been here. We've been doing these things. We've been doing the right things. We just didn't have the visibility of the bright stadium lights, right? The little girls don't get to see all of the heroes that we all know are there, right? We all know these wonderful women, right? And that's not just in sports, that's in society, right? For me, like coming up in women's football, there was no vision of like the NFL even being a whisper of a possibility because there was nobody who looked like me. I was one of the best female players in the world, but there was no path for a career. We were all passion, 0 paycheck. My $12 check has been international news, right? Because we played for $1 a game. And there was this passion and this love and this belief in every single one of us, right? That we were doing it for something bigger. We were all playing for something bigger because it sure wasn't the dollars. And we just believed that we were winning every single time we stepped on the field, right? For me, it was like, that was the place where I was a superhero. You put on pads and a helmet, I could do anything. At 5'2", I could play 6'10", right? But nobody knew we existed. And so that's what we have to change, right? We have to prove in this society that these amazing women have been here all along. All of these heroes exist, we just didn't see them. And the beauty of something like this with SheIS is that we're doing what guys kind of do already. That's one thing I learned from being in men's professional sport. The advantage that I think that they have or have had in the past is that they're really good about that, right? You'll see NBA players, you know, shouting out the NFL and hockey and all of these cross-pollinations, whereas the women, we haven't embraced that yet. I think because we were so tunnel-visioned in our own fights that we didn't realize that there were so many amazing women fighting parallel paths, just like you said. Well, that's my story. Well, that's so many of the stories, but we need the visibility to really create that possibility, and we need stadium lights and opportunities that aren't the men's. We're not following in their footsteps. We're creating our own, right? Let's take the good things that they've done, though, and let's do them with our own little twist to them.
Great. So, Lisa,
don't make it hard.
I won't. I'm afraid of you right now after you said behave. I'm like, that's it for me. What excites you about being here today and launching the SheIS with this incredible room?
What excites me today is us being in this room and being all together and launching this initiative. You know, sports is an international language. There are only two, music and sports. I've said this often. And Ernst & Young did a study, 400 women on 4 continents. And what they found is that 80% of those women attributed their success to playing organized sports. What we've done, though, is we've played our individual sports and we've cheered for our individual teams. We've never looked across the landscape, I don't think, and said, well, what about women's football? What about women's tennis? What about volleyball or soccer or hockey? We haven't done that. And so there's always strength in numbers, for sure, and we're talking about collective action now, not just cheering for the WNBA, although I love my 12 teams in all 12 markets, let's be clear. But we are talking about cheering for women in general. The WNBA is only 22 years old. We're going into our 22nd season. We're the longest running women's professional sports league. Now, that's a shameless plug, but suffice it to say, we are still the youngest professional league, period, full stop. So baseball's 125, football is nearly 100,
Hockey's 100.
Hockey's 100. That's right. You just had your 100th, your centennial anniversary. The NBA, our big brother, is 72. We're 22. 72 means they have a 50-year advantage on us. That is technically 2 generations. Generation is 25.5 years. So the maturity of women being engaged in sport is very young. We are a nascent league. So are my sisters here. We're nascent. Doesn't mean we're not good. We're real good. In basketball, when things are not going well or when players get tired, we send in fresh legs. We are doing that today, offering a fresh perspective on women and what women can accomplish, not only in the WNBA, but in every sport. If Ernst & Young has the empirical data that says sports is a driver of leadership and teaching the values of how you become successful, not just in sports, but in life. Why didn't somebody tell us this sooner? But we know now. So the notion is supporting one another, not just in one sport, but in all sports, and encouraging women. We're not taking away the nurturing and all the things that we are taught as little girls. We are expanding our horizons and saying sports is one of the things that we need to do. We need to teach our daughters, we need to teach our sons that the women can play, the young girls can play. And on the playground, we know this in basketball, it might be true in other sports as well, when they're picking teams, it's based on skill. It's not based on gender. We learn these gender roles over time, and we gotta take that stuff out of the box and say, that is not appropriate anymore. Let's judge people on their skill. Period, full stop, and let's use sports as a platform for women to move the cultural and the societal and, frankly, the political needles.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, I'll just build upon what Lisa talked about in the playground. And so I have a 13-year-old daughter, so I've got this incubator right in front of me to learn. And so she has a strong mother.
Well...
And she's got more strength than I have in my baby finger. So we get a call from the school. Alex is too competitive. Could you imagine the principal calling Johnny's mom that Johnny is too competitive? So this gender bias that we teach, we have to eradicate it.
Agreed.
Right at that early age. And when they're in the middle school, that's when they're pushing. But no, that's not how little girls behave. No, Alex. I'm like, I'm glad Alex is competitive. And the other thing that we have to teach athletes, that strong is good. Strong is beautiful, in and out. And it's okay to be tough. So many times in my career, I've been told I'm too tough. Well, do you want a weak CEO? do you ask the man in the interview, is he too tough? But the gender bias, we talked about it being implicit, it's still explicit.
Agreed.
And that's where sport and the experiences that we can offer on the playground, in our stadiums, for young girls and young boys to see little girls competing and being tough, getting gritty and competitive. That's how we can win.
Agreed. Agree completely.
Jen, what excites you?
Jen, I think you know that.
Oh my gosh. So I'm so in love with all of the women on the stage because everything that they say, I find myself like, my heart is so full with just the power and potential right here in this room of everybody who knows that when we put men and women on equal footing, it changes everything, right? When I loved being in the NFL so much for reasons that are so far beyond football. It was the conversations with my players who we would talk about. They'd be like, man, Coach Jen, like, I never imagined that I would have a woman as a coach, and it's so cool. Like, and they loved being a part of history and showing that this was possible. I love getting pictures from little girls at Halloween when they're dressed up as a coach, right? They're dressed up as a football coach, and I think, how beautiful is that? Because I never would have been so bold, right? When we change these dynamics in a real way, right? In a real skill-based way, it says everything it needs to say. I've always said, you know, you have your shameless plugs for basketball. Well, I'm going to shamelessly plug football in a very different way. I find it one of the most beautiful sports in a societal way because when you look out on that field, it doesn't work if everybody looks the same. You need everything from pure muscle to pure hustle and a whole lot of crazy, and that was me, to make it work, right? It requires diversity fundamentally to work. And that diversity and inclusion has given me this wonderful football family that's international. It's women and men who I've played with, played against, coached with, and coached against. And we are every shape, size, creed, color, socioeconomic status, everything, right? That's what sports does. It does that for all of us. And we are the people that we are because of those lessons. I love that you said that you're too tough. I have women ask me that question all the time. Well, what do you say when somebody tells you you're tough? I said, thank you. And they said, well, you know that when they say that to a woman, it's not really a compliment. And I said, so do you think if you say thank you that they're going to say, no, I meant to insult you? Like, no. Like, that should be an absolute compliment.
Positive.
And it is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. And that's what is so exciting about doing things like this with such wonderful people, right? To show the next generation and the generation after that women are the instruments of success, not the accessories to someone else's, not a prize to be won by them doing something. But these are the actors, right? These are the heroes, and that they walk amongst us every day. They've just needed to let their cape fly a little bit.
Well, part of this is about breaking stereotypes, right? There's a stereotype that says women don't support other women. And I'm not telling you that that's not true in some instances, but I can remember Madeleine Albright. I was at a luncheon for the WNBA, one of my predecessors put on, and Madeleine Albright said, there's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. And I was like, whoop, there's the call to action. So let me change that a little bit because I love Madeleine Albright. She's one of my heroes, sheroes, and all that. There's a special place in heaven for women who support other women. So this is really about...
Oh, I might get in.
breaking the stereotype, breaking the mold for what has traditionally been said about women. Why do we let people control our narrative? So we found ourselves in a political and a cultural environment where women are speaking up on a multitude of issues. So sports should be no surprise because it's an international language that we are putting a tent pole in the ground and saying, not only are we going to play sports, we're going to play together, we're going to support one another. I have to learn more about hockey, all the rules, so I'll know exactly what's going on. But then that broadens my experience, right? That broadens my pool of knowledge. So I become a better person because I understand better. So this is really what this is all about. is women supporting one another so that we can take a step forward every day, not just in football or just in tennis or just in hockey, or just all of us united together can take that step forward.
Perfectly said by everybody up here. I couldn't say it any better. Afterwards, we have a couple of opportunities for everybody. We have a camera that will go around and ask you in this room what SheIS means to you after listening to us and the documents that we've given you. So, just speak freely on what you perceive it to be and what you can do to make the difference. We're also going to meet for cocktails, I think, or drinks anyways, at where's we going?
Bahamas.
And we'll give you the address.
Not here at the WNBA. Let's be clear.
I think the one thing that I want to do in ending this part of the conversation is to make sure that we understand that this was completely born from a positive point of view. This is not born from any negativity because something's happened to me, because something's happening to us. It is born from the simple fact of everything they have said at this stage is that we can make the difference ourselves. And that just doesn't include us as females. It includes us as males and females everywhere that can help us grow the game. And so I leave you with one set of advice that Caiti said to me when she asked me to give a quote or something, and I'm not great at quotes, but I said, it's not about what we can do, but who's going to stop me. And that goes for every single one of us out there. So enjoy. We do have hats, and I did get 2 types of hats, by the way, because apparently, as my age, I just wear a ball cap, and I guess there's a new cap.
Oh, yeah, come on.
So I got the 2 kinds, so pick your hat. And again, thank you so much. I want to recognize every single female that's in this room. The panel we just picked because we wanted to do a bit of a PR and have a conversation. But there is not one woman in this room who's not special. There is not one male who's in this room who is not special. And we need each and every one of you to make it work. So please do the PSAs if you haven't done it, and please give your testimonials before you leave. And on May 1st, which is a very important month to begin with, by the way, because May 1st is very important to me, a whole month of May, by the way. And so, again, I will look for you guys to make the difference on May 1st. And thank you very much for coming, and let's get on with the testimonials.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. You did a great